I was trying to keep my shit together for this intro, and I couldn't because I knew this was coming. Welcome, friends. I forgot what the intro's like. My name is Saffron Asteria, and I'm joined today by Timothy Robare, who I'm now going to call Rohair because of this marvelous wig. I appreciate you making the effort because I know that your hair's too short for a mullet, but we will work on that today.
I'm going to grow it out in this episode.
What, like a one of those Play-Doh dudes?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Hopefully a little more, hopefully better than Play-Doh, but
you know, at least if it was Play-Doh, you could grow it again really fast if you didn't like the haircut. That would be the plus side.
That's true. And I could mold it instead of having a bad hair day.
Yeah, like Lego hair. I've always found that to be fascinating when people actually have their hair styled very similarly to Lego hair with lots of gel and things. I appreciate that because it's not going to move.
And the same hardness. My friend, one of my best friends, he has the hardest hair I've ever poked in my life.
Oh, you poked it.
Well, we used to live together, and he like hairsprays and gels and everything like all at the same time.
Mhm.
So you can like poke it, and not one hair will even sway. It's pretty impressive.
Now, were you poking his hair whilst he was conscious, or did you sneak into his room at night and touch it?
Both.
Okay, fair enough. Great. Well, we have a couple of people that have already joined us today. I'm trying to keep it together. This is going to be an absolute car crash. So we have Chris Brand. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. I did actually remember that it was you. Again, if you don't have your name on there, it's very hard for me to remember. And we also have Alexa. I don't know how to pronounce that, but hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've also got the lovely Tim McKay.
Oh, McKay came.
Yes. We're going to have a Tim off. That sounds a bit weird. I don't know if I like that or not.
Actually, I've been trying to get a Timology going with all the Tims doing an anthology together, all about Timism. But none of them have actually confirmed that they would do it with me. They all just oblige and are like, "Oh yeah, that'd be funny," and then they don't say anything.
Such a Tim thing to do.
It's very Tim-like.
Yeah, it's one of the Timisms that you could put into the book, and it would probably just be you writing it. You could just get them to sign their names at the end. Maybe you could just have a Timothy manifesto.
Or I'll just write a story about each one of them.
Yeah, it's a good idea. See, we're already working some of the creative juices today. So before I continue to ramble on like an absolute jackass, could you tell us a little bit about what kinds of things you write?
Yeah, I write everything from dark fantasy to lovey-dovey poetry to poetry about nature and the negativity of the world to now the two books that are up on the screen, which is kind of a more enjoyable fantasy because my Tales of Battle is super dark and gruesome, and Flame of Alamandras is a lot more lighthearted and fun and adventurous and old school fantasy, and then Faded Nights is a novella that is kind of in the middle of the two. So a pretty wide range of things, I guess, now.
Cool. So yeah, these two books are coming out very soon. So if I pronounce these incorrectly, you can laugh at me. That's fine. So the novel length on the left, if you're looking at the screen, so that is The Flame of Almandraz.
Either one, really. I kind of left that up to people. I say Alamandras, but I figured people would say Alamandras. I figured they'd say it all kinds of ways. So
we'll blame it on my accent. But that comes out May 22nd. And so this is the first book in the Ashes and Embers. I guess it's going to be a series that you're going to put together, right?
It is. Yeah, I'm already done book 2 and 3. Book 2 I'm editing right now before I send it to my editors, and book 3 I just finished like 2 weeks ago. So
amazing. So did you write these very quickly, or did you decide to sort of release it close to when you were finished with 2 and 3?
Book 1 took a little bit longer. Book 2 was really fast, and book 3 took the longest. But because I was putting out my poetry book in book 3 of Tales of Battle, I figured I would do a little bit of lag, and my editors were swamped. So I really had no idea when they'd get through book 1. Then it kind of just, I wrote them all on top of each other instead of spreading them out. So I just kind of went right through. So it was kind of quick that way.
So can you tell us a bit about the series and what people can expect if they were going to pre-order and pick up the book?
Yeah, so book 1, the Lord of Doom is basically rising. He's like an ancient mage who's been trapped for a long time by other mages. He's rising, so the main character Tiberius is rescued by a different mage,
Mhm.
who then Tiberius and his friends go on a journey to find Almandraz, who's one of like the mightiest dragons known that still lives,
Mhm.
who's hidden away, been hidden away for a long time. When they find him, he releases some information that changes Tiberius forever, and it turns out Tiberius is also a type of mage, but a
Mhm.
different one, and it kind of sets in. I mean, then he goes to battle with the Lord of Doom, but Almandraz, my editor, compared him to Smaug, which is
Mhm.
kind of what I was going for and hoping for. So he's not necessarily good. He's definitely not evil, but he's not necessarily like good.
Mhm.
And then some stuff happens that then translates into book two.
Mhm.
Book two is basically these people from this island come to retake land. A demon and a demon dragon come, and
Mm.
then book three, everything goes kind of wild. I really wanted to use Kieran's. I mean, I had a title called the Kieran King, and I was like, from here on out, the whole book's going to be about that.
Mhm.
Tiberius and his best friend go at odds. So book three is kind of a little more all over the place, but still
Okay.
holding true to the storyline.
Cool. Well, I think the cover itself is stunning. I really love orange tones and brown tone stuff, as you can probably tell, because I've got a whole brown thing going on behind me. Um, so when you were so who was your cover artist?
Um, his last name's Ignacio. I think it's JN off the top of my head. It's hard because his handle is Sushi Nori.
Okay.
So I think it's NJ Ignacio, but I could be saying that wrong. So
That's
Sushi
okay.
Nori is his handle. And I saw
So
him
mhm.
from NA Bets and a girl on Threads, and now another guy. They all have his covers as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it's stunning. So can you tell us a bit about the process of getting this cover sort of designed and where we are today?
Yeah. So around Christmas, I was actually on his profile. I was like, man, I can't afford that cover as much as I want him.
Mhm.
Then literally 2 minutes later, he messaged me. He was like, hey, someone just paid for your cover. Like, what do you want? And I was like, what? I thought he was messing with me. I was like, I was literally just on his profile like 20 seconds prior. Um, so then he's super easy to work with, really cool.
Mhm.
I'm a pain to work with. I'm terrible to work with for covers because I have no visual capability as far as actual visual arts.
Okay.
Fairly indecisive. So if someone throws another idea at me, I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's a good idea," and then it just spirals from there. So he's really nice and kind. I basically told him what the story was about, kind of what the dragon looked like, and he literally just started sketching. He's like, "How about this?" I
Mhm.
really didn't alter much because I was like, "Holy crap, that's incredible!" I was actually like super blown away at the concept he came up with, way better than
Mhm.
what I imagined. Um, and then I really only had him alter a couple of things, and I usually I let artists kind of do their thing because I don't like I said I
Mhm.
suck at visual art, so I'm like, here's the idea, you do your rendition, I trust you, have at it.
Mhm. Well, it worked out perfectly because it's very eye-catching and very, very pretty. But yeah, that is super cool that you had that opportunity. Um, sometimes it's nice when things like that work out. Makes
Yeah,
everything.
it's
I think
pretty awesome.
covers make a huge, huge difference with marketing because you can do so much with that cover itself. Um,
Yeah, that's pretty much my hope this time. Is my other covers, I was starting out, I was super poor. Not that I'm not super poor now, but more poor.
mhm,
Uh, and then because my Secret Santa, whoever, decided to give me a super awesome gift, I was like, I just hope this cover kind of sells itself. Obviously, the story has to as well, but like, I'm a cover first person. If I don't like the cover, I won't buy a book.
mhm. I think more of us do that than not. Like
Yeah, I
I
think.
will. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say I won't not read a book because it doesn't have a pretty cover, but I get caught up in it a lot, especially if I go into a physical store. Um, but I do if I shop online, I'll look at blurbs because you can't tell what the art's going to look like when you actually get the book. But I'm a sucker for a pretty book. I can't help it.
Me too. And I think a lot of people don't talk. I think people are shy away from that topic, but
Mhm.
I openly admit it to everybody. I'm like, if your book cover doesn't entice me, I'm not going to get it,
Yeah.
just because that's just how I work.
Well, this is it, and you're right, Chris. Like the cover can get people to the blurb, and it's something that we shouldn't discount. And I can't remember when I spoke about this. It was a show. I do so many, I just lose count. I don't know who I was talking to. But you don't have to spend tons of money on a cover, but really, really good ones often do cost a lot of money. But there are so many good websites out there, like Fiverr. You can find decent covers, and I can't remember the name of it, but there are a couple of. There was a place that Ben Schenkman recommended to me. You'd have to go back and watch the episode if you wanted to remember. But they make like really good pre-made covers. So those things are out there, and they're
Oh
super,
yeah, I mean
super
JV
accessible.
Arts does awesome pre-made covers. It is harder now to find non-AI usage. So like that's why with this guy, I reached out to the people that had his cover. I was like, hey, and they're like, no, dude, he doesn't use any generative AI or anything. And I was like,
Mhm.
sweet. And same thing with the Faded Knights cover. Same thing with the Faded Knights cover and my Tales of Battle covers. I had to find same artist did Faded Knights and my Tales of Battle characters.
Mhm.
So I had to find him. I found him on Fiverr. It
Mhm.
was difficult to find him because I was ciphering through AI, and he was open to being like a no AI contract. But he was like, "It'll take 3 times longer to do your stuff," and I was like, "That's cool. I got nothing but time. I'm a self pub, so."
Let's get this right, and let's get it right the way I want it to be.
Yep.
I missed that Jose arrived. Hello, I'm so sorry I didn't see you there. Oh, here are some more recommendations from Chris. Get covers, and I guess that's short for mobile art, MBIL art, two popular ones for cheap. That's good to know. Thank you very much, Chris. So yeah, it does make a huge difference. But I kept seeing your cover, and I don't always associate like covers with people, and because this was a new style compared to your is it Tales of Battle
Mhm.
series, I didn't automatically recognize that it was your style, and I was like, oh shit, that's Timothy's new book. That's really cool, and it's again, it's something that I remember now, and it's just yeah. Anyway, I could keep saying how pretty this is forever, but so this is out May 22nd, and it is available for pre-order now. How have you found the marketing side of stuff for this book? Because you're a few books in now, so you've probably learned some tips and tricks and things that work for you.
I wish that was true, but between algorithms changing all like what
Mm,
feels like every other week, it's hard. This book is easier because dragons are an easy sell for the most part.
that's very
Uh,
true.
when people look at Tales of Battle, first of all, they think I'm a furry, which is not an easy sell. Even some
Mhm.
of my friends that are other writers are like, "Oh, I'll read your dragon book, but like I'm not interested in your anthropomorphic characters," which I didn't realize when I was writing it that people would take it so niche.
Yeah.
So that's really hard, and it's dark fantasy, so people have a hard time making. I have these cutesy looking furry like people, I guess, and they like are gruesomely killing each other and doing terrible things.
Mm.
It's like Happy Tree Friends, but um,
What a comp!
I
Like,
should do that actually. I should be like Happy Tree Friends, but a novel.
yeah, why not? I mean, I'm sure I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to ask because it's none of my business. But I'm sure people around our ages, so I'm not sure if we're similar in age, probably will understand what that comp means.
Oh yeah, probably. And then I mean, Flame of Alamandra has been relatively easy. I mean, the orange is super eye catching anyway, which is
Mhm.
great. The dragon is easy. I feel like I'm also just doing GF Allen's method, which is spray and pray. Um, just like post it everywhere and hope for the best. And
Mhm.
I used to hate doing that. Actually, I still hate doing that because I feel really tacky. But also all the studies and all these things, I'm just like, I'm just gonna post it, and you guys are gonna look at this bright orange color cover with a dragon, and
Mhm.
eventually you're gonna press pre-order.
Yeah, exposure therapy, maybe in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, think about all of the like jingles that you hear, and when you see branding, you have to worry about things like branding as an author. To just, I mean, perfect example, what I said before, I recognize your Tales of Battle covers as being related to you, and now I'm slowly realizing that this new book is related to you as well, and all of that comes together in your like portfolio basically, and then that's how people recognize you. So whether you've got your face out there all the time or if you have a color palette that you use all the time, it absolutely helps people recognize you and your work. And you kind of, unfortunately, if you care about sales and things like that, have to have a brand.
Yeah, that is something. I mean, early on, I struggled with that, especially coming out of school for literature and writing arts, because they
Mhm.
don't actually teach you those really important parts that
Yeah.
are crucial to being a self-published author, especially.
Mhm.
Um, and I do write a wide variety, which does work against me as
Yeah.
well. Some authors, they stay right in one niche and they kill it and they crush it, and it's really good for their branding.
Mhm.
Me, I'm kind of all over the place because I don't like necessarily writing the same thing repetitively. And I was like, what happens? And I wanted a novel that translates more to like where anybody can read it for the most part,
Mm.
within reason. I was curious what people that read Tales would think of this. And my first review is actually a person that's read Tales 1 and 2, I think. And now
Okay.
she read this. So I was waiting. I was like, I really want to know what she thinks. And
Mm.
she, dude, it was awesome because it's totally different. The style is my prose are hopefully way better than they were back then. I mean, Tales 1 I wrote in 2016, 2017.
Mhm.
Um, and Flame I wrote last year. So yeah, hopefully it's better because otherwise I'm failing. But just in general, the story is very different. It's more wholesome. It's less violent. There's no cursing. There's no head severing that's very graphic and stuff like that. So
That's something. So I was reading Fated Nights, and I was genuinely surprised. I don't know what I expected because it was the first thing of yours that I've read, and I was like, there are loads of cunts in here. There's loads. Oh my goodness. I was surprised because I think in your author bio it says something like you write fantasy for adults, and I thought, oh, is it going to be like erotic or whatever? Because that's usually when you hear adult something, it's usually that. And I was like, no, it's just full of swear words
yeah,
and violence.
yeah.
Which
That's why
was
I put adult, because I don't want people, especially with Tales, I don't want them to look at it and be like, oh, they're fluffy, huggy animals, because they are
mm,
also severing each other's heads and tails and feet and like cursing.
mm,
So
yeah. I quite liked it though because you don't often get that in fantasy books, so that was a nice change of pace. So moving on to Fated Night. So this is out on May 3rd. It's a novella, so it's just shy of 100 pages, I think.
it's
It's
92 or
97.
96. I can't remember.
It's like more than 95. I thought it was like 96, 98, something like that.
It might be.
Um, but could you tell us a bit about that for those who haven't read it and those who aren't familiar with it?
Yeah. So it's about, I mean, there's one main character and then there's three other main characters, but Alexander is obviously the mainest. I don't know.
The most
Um,
mean.
yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know how that works. So basically, a bunch of people they're diseased. They're cast off to a city by themselves to die.
Mhm,
Alexander gets his brother and the two other main characters in on this journey because he wants to take fate into his own hands. They agree. They get an army of about 400, and they march against this enemy, this
mhm,
empire that's been taking land for years. And basically, it's really just meant to be their journey of death and
mhm,
glory, and the whole theme is to take fate into your own hands and do what you need to do with it.
mhm,
And they want to go out in a blazing glory, basically sword swinging, and not just rot to death in the city.
mhm,
And I mean, most of them have already lost at the beginning. Alexander, is reflecting on losing his wife and his kid.
mhm,
There's some emotion there, and then he's really got nothing left to lose, and none of them do because they're all going to die anyway. So it's really just a short run following these four characters
mhm.
into multiple battles, and the rest you have to read to find out.
Nice. I have to ask you a couple of questions about this book.
Yeah.
Um, one of the characters is called Timothy. Was that a self-insert, or do you just really like your name?
No, I actually have never used my name, and I was like, huh. And he's a priest or
Mhm.
preacher, and I was thinking of not the apostle, but whatever Timothy is in the Bible. I guess I don't know exactly what he's considered.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about him, and I was like, well, that's kind
Mhm,
of cool. He like goes on a journey, and he
mhm,
ends up dying, and whatever, he gets stoned to death or whatever.
mhm,
He's like very pure, from what I understand.
mhm,
So it just kind of fit. I usually don't really think too much of my characters' names. I usually let them kind of just decide themselves.
mhm.
Um, I think I watch a lot of war videos at the gym. It's called like Kings and Generals channel. So I watch all these like war videos about history and stuff.
That's
There
random.
might, yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody else probably does it. And it's all about like tactics in these battles. I'm sure at the time there's probably a Timothy also, and it probably influenced me. That's
Yeah.
why Alexander's in there, because I was influenced by one of the videos I was watching. I was like, yeah, Alexander works. That's a good name.
Nice. That's good. I can't imagine not being distracted having war programs on while I'm trying to work out.
Well, it's only during cardio. So when I'm doing the stair
Oh,
climber, I do the stair climber for 25 minutes.
yeah.
And so I watch 25 minutes of war and battle tactics.
Is that so that it puts everything into perspective because the Stairmaster is fucking awful?
Kind of. It is a war with my glutes.
I can't even get up the regular stairs without wanting to keel over and die. So
Oh, I love it. I'll fall downhill, but uphill, I'll go all day.
that's nah. No, I don't like that. Can't relate, sorry. So I noticed that, and this is the same with pretty much all fantasy, is that in most fantastical worlds there is some form of religion or spirituality within it. So the religion, I don't know if you'd call it religion in Fated Knights, is that something that is based on reality? Is it like a fictitious religion? And does it sort of span across to the other worlds that you've created?
It's definitely fictitious. I mean, it's influenced by a bunch of stuff. For
Mhm,
me, it was, I mean, I have watched videos of the Crusaders and stuff, and this is kind of
mhm,
crusader-y, but not really because it's not in the name of religion. But
mhm,
so often, more than not, through our history, wars have been fought based on religion, at least as a key component.
mhm,
I wanted to really include that and give people that feel like, hey, they're fighting for their gods, even though it's not the
mhm,
right. Because I'm writing another novella, from the opposite perspective,
mhm,
not in the same time frame, but from the empire. So, but no, it's not. I mean, Flame of Almandraz, the religion is super different. I mean, there's multiple religions, but they're all
mhm,
really different. In Tales, there's tons of religions. There's elemental worshippers. There's worshippers of the one god. There's worshippers of multiple gods. There's
mhm,
worshippers of death. I just think it's, as someone that's like Buddhist Christian, but I'm also Native American, so I have
mhm,
like Native American spirituality. I think all religions are really interesting, and I think the intricacies of them are really fun, and I
mhm,
think people really grab onto them. But I also like to make them wild or have key components to the storyline.
mhm.
So I think it just adds a little more texture to a story. I don't think it's I don't want to base them off of things per se, but there's always influence, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, where else are you going to get the information from? So how do you keep track of all that? Because that's quite a complex thing to keep a hold of, especially in a series.
Well, as you know, I'm terrible at keeping track of everything from time zones to scheduling to pretty much
Podcast,
anything.
podcast dates, things like that. you,
Um,
you came to this one though, so
I actually am notorious for booking hotels on the wrong month, on the wrong dates. It happens often. I booked plane tickets in the wrong dates. I'm just really bad at months and dates. Terrible. And I don't know anybody's birthdays, not even my dog's, and she's my favorite. So
oh, no, that's not right. You need to get that tattooed on you somewhere.
even my whole family will message me. They'll be like, "Hey, it's this person's birthday. Call them." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So everybody knows, and I get like a flood of messages. But
That's nice.
I do I do keep messy Word documents
Mhm,
that have functioned almost kind of well.
mhm.
Sometimes I do forget to mark down who I've killed in things like Tales of Battle. So my editors will be like, "Ah, that person's dead," and I'll be like, "Shit." Uh, and I have to go and rewrite, which I had to do for book 5. I have to go and rewrite a bunch of it because I have 2 dead characters doing stuff.
The ghosts solved.
It is fantasy.
Yeah.
Flame, I feel like by this time in my life, I've done a little bit better about keeping track. So I keep my Word document. I've tried to be better at separating it so I can easily find stuff, and it has gone relatively okay. For the
Okay.
novella, it was easy because it's just like this little component. It's not long, and so it's easy to remember.
Mhm,
That was pretty simple, but I'm progressing. I know some people have like these really, I've seen some people with like their Excel sheets that are so color coded and stuff, and I'm like, I wish I had more than a 23-second attention span because I would do it. But because I'm like a husky puppy,
mhm.
I don't. I'm like, "Oh, my tail."
Yeah, I feel that. I always set out with the intention of being the most organized person. And if I have the energy, like today, I scheduled literally 3 months worth of posts.
Whoa.
I spent 9 hours like not blinking, staring at the screen. and I won't have that energy again for like 6 years. So I have to grab it whenever I can get it, but it's not sustainable because I can't do it all the time. So I'll be really organized, and it will get to the end of that 3 months, and I'll go, I've not done anything else, and I'm behind again. Because that's how I operate. I get like flashes in the pan of excess energy, I suppose. We've had a couple more people join us. So we have Mark from the Book Lounge.
What's up,
And we
Mark?
also have Trinity. And
Oh,
congratulations on your recent release, Trinity. I'm very happy for you. And do you prefer Timothy or Tim? We were actually talking about this before the show.
Trinity's a mind reader.
She must be. She's in my cupboard. Yeah, she's just been hiding. Yeah, do you prefer Tim or Timothy?
So, as I was telling you earlier, my whole life, everybody's actually called me Timmy, especially even my professors and my high school teachers, everybody, because my friends both had dads who were like both 6'6", which I am not,
Mhm.
and big dudes. So they were Tims. So Tim was off the table, except for people did call me Tiny Tim growing up, which is super annoying.
Oh.
Yeah, super annoying. And then the only time people have ever called me Timothy was in 10th grade for whatever reason. All these girls started like being flirty and being like Timothy, and I was like, ugh, like what the heck? What's happening? So that's kind of what I relate that to, and then it stopped. So everybody's really just always called me Timmy, including my family, all except for one of my friends, and it always throws me off when he calls me Tim. So actually Timmy, but it's not really professional, and I don't know. I guess it's weird for people that to call me Timmy that didn't grow up with me, because for them it's like calling an adult Timmy is weird because I guess I don't know. You think of Timmy Turner or whatever.
I think it's Tina Turner.
Fairly Odd Parents.
I was being ridiculous.
Oh, I thought you never seen Fairly Odd Parents.
No, I was attempting a joke and it didn't land, so we're good. At least this isn't live.
Well, that's true. Well, you never know. Some people don't know Fairly Odd Parents.
That's true, and that is sad. And go and watch it. I'm pretty sure it's available somewhere. I'm sure it's probably on Netflix or something. We've had JR Montalvo arrive. Thank you so much for being here. It's so nice. It's so nice to see all these nice people in the chat. I mean,
It
usually
is.
the people that are here are always really nice. That's kind of the thing. I think because I don't talk to mean people. I can't do it. There are loads, especially on on social media and stuff. People are just horrible all the time.
There are a lot. It's been creeping up again. For a while, it was all like very calm and nice. Now all of a sudden, like the anger and resentment groups are like creeping up. Like they're trying to grasp it, all the good positivity and ripping it down. It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah. I think the best way that I have dealt with that in the past, not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway, is to just ignore them totally. And I don't mean like blank them like we're the mole. What I mean is like when like shitty things happen online, when there's like discourse and stuff, the absolute worst thing you can do is mention it, because then you're just feeding the fire. I like to be like something else, and then completely distract people with like a picture of my face or something. Just a distraction that's going to horrify the masses, and that's always a good tactic for me. I don't know if it's going to work. You could try.
I'm usually like the guy that's like, "Come on, guys, it's fine. You can all have your opinions, but like, don't be douchebags." It generally does not work because being Switzerland in the middle of a war doesn't really do much. But then I just make sarcastic comments. Comes like, "Fine, if you guys want to be little douches, I'm just gonna say stupid things until you guys leave me alone."
I like to just get in the bunker. I get in the bunker and I hide. Because I can't deal with conflict. I'll say things like, "Yeah, they should say that to my face," and then if somebody said things to my face, I go, "I'm so sorry," because I just can't. I don't want to deal with it. Oh, it makes me so uncomfortable.
You sound very Canadian.
I mean, I feel like Canadians and Brits are very close to one another.
Yeah, but Brits will go to fist fighting. Canadians are like, "No, no, no, it's okay. Sorry."
Oh yeah, we love a fight at a pub. That's good.
Oh, I know. Every time I travel, I see a Brit getting in a fight. Pretty much, it's actually pretty wild.
We do love drinking a lot of Guinness and fighting in public. Yeah, it's only happened to me like one time, but it's because somebody was being mean to my friend, and I nearly broke his arm because he was rude. And I was like, no, no,
And then you're
no.
like, now I'm gonna become a pacifist.
Yeah,
Can't be breaking arms out here.
I can't be doing that. I couldn't follow through with it, so I pushed out. Oh goodness. We have Joker Squid that's also joined us. I don't know who you are. If I do know who you are, but I don't recognize your name, please do tell me. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So we are currently talking about your book. So we talked about the two that are coming out soon. So just as a reminder for anyone that has joined a little bit later. So we have your first book of the Ashes and Embers series, Flame of Almondraz. I keep wanting to say flames, and I had to correct myself, which comes out May 22nd, available for pre-order. And there is a link in the QR code right there. And there should be a link below. If there's not, there will be at the end of the show. And Fated Nights, which is your novella, which is coming out on May 3rd, and that's also available for pre-order. I promise I can speak English. I've been doing it most of my life. But sometimes my brain is faster than my mouth and I can't keep up with it. It just happens.
Mine is too, so I get it. Actually, I used to have a speech impediment, and part of it was because I was born unable to hear, but the other part of it is because I think faster than I talk. So, but because of my sister bullying me and my entire elementary school and middle school, I focused really hard on focusing what I would say, because I used to say "sink" instead of "think," and my sister would, like, she's 10 years older than me, and she'd be like, "Think, TH, think," and that's all I think about every time I say the word. It's like, I'm thankful for it, actually. Like, the bullies did me a service. I learned how to speak correctly.
Oh, at least they're good for something. Speech therapy, apparently, which
It
is
did
can be
my
very
therapist.
costly. You know,
Yeah.
saved yourself a bit of money as well. So as I was saying, the language in Fated Nights, I jive with it. I love a swear word, so I was pleased. Definitely not for children. But I was curious. So the setting is very like taverns and sort of old school medievally sort of vibes. But you don't use that like classical old school oldie worldy language and sentence structure. Was that a conscious choice or is that just how you write?
Both. I think I do think it's I mean, I understand it, but I also think it's weird because most of the reason people expect that is because that's what we know of literature that was written, like, 100 years ago
Mhm,
and beyond. So, like, that's how the person maybe not how they totally saw it, but people did speak differently and write differently.
mhm,
For me, I wanna be able for people to relate now, and as an English teacher, I know that kids, first of all, they hate Shakespeare. They don't even like books that were written, like, 40 years ago because of how they write.
mhm.
So, not this is for 8th graders because it's not, but
I was
you
panicking
know,
then.
I want people that are coming up and reading books, I want them to be able to read and understand it
Mhm,
without them being like, "Well, I don't want that."
mm,
And yeah, I write in a more modern language because at the end of the day, it's fantasy. I'm not writing historical fiction. If I was writing historical fiction,
mhm,
I would write in the language of the time, but
mhm.
I want it to translate to the modern time, and I think that's what not all authors do, but I think the authors that we base some of that fantastical stuff off of, they were just writing in their time. They were writing in the language that they knew.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point, actually. I hadn't considered that. And I like that you've considered the accessibility of your work so that it actually appeals to people because that's something that I really love is when authors are able to appeal to the next generation of readers because we're not going to be around forever. And I hope that books are. So yeah, that's very cool. I found it more pleasant to read than when like older language styles are used because I just find I switch off a lot. I never like Shakespeare. Just because I was like, I'll get to the point, mate. Like I can't it doesn't grip my attention. I like really punchy, like pulpy stuff. But yeah, I hadn't actually considered it. And now I'm glad I asked that question because now I will view things differently. Every day's a school day. So, there was a moment that I'm not allowed. I don't know if I can say it or not, but there was a moment with Alexander where he did something very kind for an animal that I very much liked. And I know that you are a big fan of animals and dogs and such like. Um, so you wrote a book about dogs.
Oh, it's just a tiny poetry book. It was after my dog, my other dog, not my dog now, obviously.
Mhm.
My old dog, we had to put him down, and
Oh.
he was like my family dog. He was my dog through college. I actually went home every weekend to hang out with him, um, and we had to put him down. So I wrote this poem
Mhm.
and I sent it somewhere, and everybody was like, "Dude, this poem is incredible." It made me cry, and I was like, "I'm just gonna write this little book." And it
Mm,
at the time, it was less for publishing and more just for myself. It was like I would never even recommend it to people. It was just like my own thing that I wanted to put out there in memory of him. And I had just gotten Valkyrie, and she was a puppy because she's on the
mhm,
cover, and she was like 6 months old or something.
mhm,
And I was like, I'm just gonna publish this for fun. I'm just gonna publish it for me. I want a copy of it. So like it really it's really not like anything. It's definitely probably my worst poetry book, but it was really helpful for me to get through a hard time and transition into a good time and just release a lot of stuff that I needed to release onto
mhm.
paper.
Nice. Well, I'm always glad to hear that people are able to use their writing as a form of catharsis because it's incredibly powerful, and I suggest that anyone do it because especially if you're going through a rough time and it's really hard to put stuff into words, but when you're writing it down and not saying it out loud, I find it a lot easier to express myself. I don't know about you. Like if I had to tell somebody how I felt about something, I'm like, let me write it down because it's way
Oh yeah.
easier for me to compose myself for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially when I was worse at translating my emotions in high school and college, even after university, I would tell even my friends, I'd be like, "Hey, let me write you a poem." If they were like,
Mhm.
"How are you feeling?" Or if I was feeling emotional, but I couldn't say it because I'm not good at like presenting it verbally. I was like, "Let me write you like a just a page letter real quick." I'd make them sit there and I would write them. They'd be like, "Whoa, that makes sense."
Mm.
Or I would sing Disney songs. That was also something that I did when I got uncomfortable. It's really random. Like my one of my
What?
best friends, yeah, one of my best friends in university, her we were all drinking. We had just started drinking, so we weren't drunk. And she got a call that her grandma died, and I'm really bad at hugging. I didn't grow up in a huggy family or
Mhm.
anything like that, and I'm awkward, and she was crying, and I was like, "I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do." So I started singing Aladdin out of nowhere, and she laughed, and she, like, looked at me after I was done and was like, "I know that came from your heart, so, like, thank you." And I was like, "It's cool that you know me breaking out in a musical in a really uncomfortable time means love."
Mm. Did you do any moves? Did you dance in any way? Did you
Oh,
perform,
yeah.
or was it just sit still and sing at the person?
Both. I always spin around even
You always spin around.
yeah, I always spin around in, like, my life, I pretend is a musical. I'm, like, randomly singing when I'm cooking or when I'm walking down the street to my dog or whatever, and, like
Wow.
yeah, I'm pretty sure people think I'm utterly crazy, which is not totally untrue. So in my old TikTok that I that I used to post when I had a eco farm, I
Mhm.
used to, like, take videos and weird stuff, like, I'm singing Hercules with my horse at the time, and, like, I'm
Oh.
all dressed up in my out front of the barn, and I'm, like, just all over my horse. Yeah.
Was the video called Horsecules?
No, but that would've been awesome. Dang.
It would have been. It's if
That
you want to revive that account, feel free to.
I should. There's also one of me with my pig at the time, and I'm singing the Lion King song, and I have my orange cat and my pig, and I'm, like, singing and using them as props.
Of course you had an orange cat and a pig.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Doesn't everybody?
No, and I want both those things. Although I have had several orange cats in my life, and they're awful.
No, they're the best. They're so spirited and annoying. I love it.
Oh, the two that I no, I'm telling a lie. One of them was awesome, and his name was Simba, and he was humongous. This cat, like really huge cat, and he was super loving. And then we had to rehome him because we moved, and we found him a really nice home rather than giving him to like a pound or whatever. We found him a new home, and we thought, oh, he's gonna miss us, and he didn't give a shit. We went and visited him, and he was like, I have no idea who you are.
Sounds
And
like an
he was
orange cat.
yes. And then the other one, his name was Brandy, and he was the most vicious little shitbag I've ever met in my life. I love animals, and we had him till the end, but you'd walk past him and he'd just attack you. He was horrible, like
I had
demon
brothers.
cat.
I named them Stannis and Renly from Game of Thrones, and it
Mhm.
turned out totally accurate. Stannis was a total dick. I love my birds. I had bird feeders, and he
Mhm.
would literally jump like 10 feet in the air and just whoosh, grab one and rip its head
Mm,
off right in front of me. And I was like, Stannis, you little ass. And then Renly was super pretty. He had like a white chest, and he
mhm,
would hang out inside and didn't kill anything.
mhm.
He would just like stretch from the cupboards and like get on my shoulder while I brushed my teeth or went pee
Oh,
or was walking around the house, and he would just
mhm.
a cuddle lover. So it actually matched their personalities, but
Oh, that's cute. I'm not Chris. I'm not putting that comment on the feed. That's disgusting. I have a few more questions for you. These are slightly more vague. So, you have mentioned that you're writing or have written lots of books that you haven't yet released. Is there anything that you're actively writing at the moment?
so I just got done the book 3 in Ashes and Embers.
Mhm,
I've started I don't outline. I'm not gonna say I'm outlining, but I put down a premise for book 4.
mhm,
Um, I am also trying to write my there's a series I'm trying to do that's really thick and really war heavy that I really love. It's like my
mhm,
passion project. So I've
mhm,
started writing book 2. I'm writing a side novella of Fated Knights, which is from a different perspective of an
mhm.
empirical soldier, and it's got a different vibe.
Cool.
And then I'm also working on the third and final poetry book out of my Writing with Wolves, Ballads by Bears. I'm writing the third
Mhm.
one now off and on. And then there is another thing I started writing, and I actually don't remember what it was, so that's awkward.
That's okay. I'll tell you what, put it in the comments of this video, and then when people watch it, they can go and have a look and see when you remember. There you go. Bit of bonus content for you to keep you coming back. So, who would you say is your, and I suppose this is going to be a difficult question, so I'm going to try and narrow it down a little bit. For your fantasy work, who would you say is like your target audience?
Oh, gosh. That's actually such a hard question because, like I said, I write really wide.
Mhm,
Tales of Battle, I don't think there is a target audience because I think anthropomorphic wise, everybody has their perspectives on that, especially
mm,
with different like furry culture and stuff. So I think people go in with a concept of what that is. For Flame of Alamandras, I think it's just a wide audience of people that just like classical fantasy. It's more classic and journey based, dragons and mages and adventure based. And then Faded Knights is obviously more dark and realistic, but still fantasy. So I
mhm.
wish I was one of those authors that just like dove into a target audience, and it probably is my one of my weakest points as an author is I'm just like I write what I want to write and I do it, and hopefully someone buys it.
So, your target audience is you and anyone that likes the sound of any of them, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. If you like the word cunt and you like people getting killed by a sword, you like Faded Knights. If you like no swearing and dragons, you like Flame. If you like a jaguar and a fox trying to decapitate one another while swearing at each other, then you'll like Tales of Battle.
There you go. What a whistle stop tour of an advert. That was fantastic. So I usually ask the same two questions at the end of every show, and I don't suspect that you have watched any of the shows all the way through or seen the end of them. So I'm going to tell you what they are, um, and you can have a little think if you need to. And if anybody wants to ask Timothy, we're professional here, Timothy, a question, then please put it in the chat. So my second to last question is: as an author, what does success look like to you?
I always went into this after university because I'm already 40K in debt anyway. So what's debt after university? I always went into this saying that if one person bought and enjoyed my book, that was success
Mm,
because that means that one person I changed their life, whether it's for a day, a year, whether they remember it forever, or whether they don't.
mm,
So I did say if one person enjoyed my book, that was success. Obviously, that's changed because
mhm,
once you move down the line, covers cost, ISBNs, all that stuff costs. Success
mhm,
to me would just literally be breaking even. If
mhm.
on my gravestone someone wrote he broke even as a writer, I would accept that as success.
Okay, fair enough.
Of course, the ultra positive in me wants to be like, yeah, I'm going to be George R. R. Martin, but finish my series, which is pretty unrealistic. I will finish my series though, but
Yes.
the other part is unrealistic. But Yeah, success to me is I really try to keep it small because I think a lot of authors, especially I realize that authors coming into it now that have just started, like during or
Mhm,
after COVID, they really expect instant success and they get really, really depressed when they don't meet that.
mhm,
I've always tried to do the opposite and been like, yeah, it's easy to beat yourself up. But if one person buys that book and reviews it, if one person's
mhm,
like messages you and is like, "Hey, your book is awesome," or "Your character really like struck me," to me that's a win, and I totally accept that and take that.
mm. Cool. So my very last question is, if you could go back to when you first started writing, and you can pick whatever part of your life that is, because I know some people they write as a kid and then they stop for a while, or you could pick when you first started writing to publish. If you could give yourself any advice, what advice would you give?
I think I'd go back to right when I graduated university, and I would give myself the advice to not just take my time, but to build myself up. To build, I mean, I
Mm,
have a backlog, so not necessarily build a backlog, but to really have more of a plan going in to because I
mm,
knew nothing about marketing. I didn't do social media because I always hated it.
yeah.
I didn't know how to present myself. They didn't teach us that in university. So I would also add to just really enjoy it because I think
Mm,
for a while I was like this not pessimistic, but I'm pretty melancholic at times, and I was really struggling.
mhm,
And not to mention, I started off with a big series, and it's anthropomorphic, so it's very niche, which I didn't know at the time. So I really would just kind of I would tell myself to set myself up for success
mhm.
rather than get into a crapshoot, running in like a sword fight with a dagger half in
Yeah.
my pocket.
I think that's something that most, as you say, like most writers when they come into this now are kind of, I don't know, I think there's a mixture I've noticed of writers from the ones that I'm exposed to on social media, for example. You get people that come and they go, right, I've got a game plan, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, this is how I'm going to market, I've got this framework that I'm going to use, and this is how I'm going to be successful. And some people that really works, and then some people go, I've written 16 books and now I'm finally online, and now you've got to trust that I'm a human being, and it's a really difficult like tightrope to walk, especially now where things aren't always genuine and things aren't always trustworthy. I mean, I suppose things weren't to begin with, but more so now, I feel, because it's really hard to tell like which accounts are people and which accounts are bots, for example.
It's true.
But I think one of the unfortunate parts of it, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is that if you want to have success in a monetary way or in a sales way, then you have to be tactical and you have to like plan and be, wear a thousand different hats. You can't just write a book and expect people to read it, and that's really sad. But
I think you also have to have not that you have to have money, but there is something to be said for putting money in to get money back, which is
mhm,
tough for a lot of people.
mhm,
There also is, I mean, you look at people like Michael that you just had on your show. He really, really set himself up for success like I've never really seen a self pub do,
yeah, it's
especially
incredible.
for a first book. And
Mhm,
it's actually mind blowing to me
yeah.
that he was so prepared and that it worked.
Mhm,
And I think something that we also fail to recognize as far as social media and writing and everything goes is that there is luck involved too.
mhm,
Luck of someone seeing your post, luck of the algorithm grabbing your post, luck of the book cover striking people. There's so much that goes on, and people get really down on one part, and there's so many pieces. There's really not one component. There's so many components that it's really complex.
mhm,
And it, like I said, it's easy to beat yourself up, or it's easy to look at someone like Michael as someone coming as someone new and be
mhm,
like, "Oh my god, I'm not doing that. I have 12 books and I can't do that." And it's really just all these different intricacies. And this is also a big thing in self pub is, for
mhm,
instance, he is so professional. I was just talking about this with a couple other self pubs
mhm,
because right now on social media, there's so much unprofessionalism going on. A lot of other authors and people are acting really unprofessional.
mhm,
And I was talking about this with a couple others, and it's like, if at any point you want to be trad published, or if at any point you want people to read your books, if someone goes to your social media and sees you dogging on other people or being rude or talking a certain way
mhm,
or um, being really heavily into conflict, nobody's going to want that. I mean, some people might, but
mhm,
overall, it's not a good brand to have. right? You are
Yeah.
branding yourself daily on social media. Everything you do, everything you say is recorded and can be used.
Mhm.
So, like, there's also professionalism, there's attitude, there's all this stuff. It's really it's really way more complicated than people give it credit.
Especially if you exist online and that is your platform, because there are many authors that I've spoken to that don't really have an online presence. They do a lot of in-person events because they're able to do that, and I know that that's expensive and that's a whole other thing. But you got to think about one of the most valuable things that we have, and that's time. And if it's like, if you spend hours and hours and hours on end on social media making posts and trying to make connections that's not working for you, try something else. Like, try and do something else, because life is too short and your book is worth reading. There's got to be someone out there. I genuinely believe there is an audience for every book, even if the book isn't particularly good, like by whatever standard. There's going to be someone that likes it. There's got to be.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Yeah, I
too
saw
many
a
people
post
out there for it to
I
be
saw a post
statistically unlikely.
yesterday say that what did they say? They said, "Let's stop pretending that books are subjective," or something, and I was like, "That's the craziest thing that anybody, a reader or a writer, could ever say." Because I was
Mm,
like you just said, there's no matter what someone writes, it's for someone. Whether
yeah.
it's grotesque, whether it's disturbing to the masses, someone is going to find something in a book. So,
Mhm.
I totally agree. I think everything is there's something for everybody and everybody enjoys something, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty in art.
Mhm. There are tons of books that I now, if I go to Goodreads, I look for the books that have really low ratings because I guarantee they're going to be the ones I like. They just usually are. But anyway, we do have a question in the chat. So thank you for confirming the pronunciation. So AXA has asked, what drew you to writing fantasy, and who are your favorite fantasy authors?
I think what drew me to fantasy is probably a mix of Redwall and Dragon Ball Z, which probably sounds weird together, and now I'm just picturing little mice shooting each other with giant lasers. But,
New book
I
idea.
I think we live in a world I grew up in a pretty dark world. I mean, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, but there was a
Mhm,
lot of darkness, there's a lot of dark things happening, and that was
mhm,
before I watched the news and everything, and fantasy was a way for me to really escape. I
mhm,
mean, when early on when I was reading Redwall, I was bullied for being overweight, bullied for looking different than everyone else, and, like, didn't really know where I fit in, and
mhm.
fantasy gave me a place to escape and to love, especially Redwall, so thank you, Brian Jocks, even though you're not around, but whatever, if you're watching Saffron from Heaven, which sounds like a great book, and then my favorite fantasy authors are George R. R. Martin forever, ever I'm always a fanboy, and Neil Shusterman and Brian Jocks. Neil Shusterman hands down has my favorite prose I've ever read and writes some of the most stellar. I, gosh, he's so good.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, that's my holy trinity right there, I guess.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And for anyone that's watching, whether you watch live or you're watching the recording, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't follow us on YouTube, I'd appreciate if you did, or subscribe, whatever the fucking word is. Please do that. Because people like Timothy need to get their books out there. And the more people that subscribe and watch the show, the easier it is for me to get the books out there in front of people. So be a part of the solution, not the whatever. I don't know what the phrase is. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for being on the show, Timothy. I really appreciate it. I feel like this was a long time coming, but we did it and we're here. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. It's always heartwarming when people care about me talking because I talk a lot.
Mhm.
Thank you for having me and putting up with me not knowing dates and time frames and time zones and not realizing that we had an interview last week at the time and day that we did. And thanks for, I don't know, being super cool on social media, being a good person with a good attitude, and, like, I don't know, I appreciate it. This is great.
Thanks. And also, you gave me a day off, if I'm being honest. When you were like, oh shit, I got the wrong time, I was like, we can do it another time. I'm very tired. So it's fine. It worked out for the best. So yes, it's all good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wave awkwardly and I'm gonna say goodbye. Goodbye. And I'm gonna put the outro on and we'll see each other on the other side. Goodbye.